Good evening and welcome to 90 Minutes. I'm Symon Allemandy, and as always, joining me from the comfort of his own home is my co-host Pete Hill. Evening, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good evening, Symon. Good evening, everybody. It's been a strange weekend, isn't it? Hour and 25 minutes on the M11. I want to gloss over that one completely. And so I'm actually in fine fettle and looking forward to another show. We've got Andy and Ethan Gannon coming up later, which is going to be really good. And we've got some cracking donuts, I'll tell you.
Yeah, it's a shame that you missed that Welling Garden City game. Obviously, we'll come on to that later. But, sounds like we missed a cracker, Pete.
Yeah, we did, unfortunately, but the right result. So that's really what matters. But before we go into, the action over the last week, yes, we all know it. We're all going to be in lockdown again from the 5th of November, national lockdown until the 2nd of December, and another potential blow to non-league football, of course, an immediate headache for the FA. They've got FA Cup looming first round, where they're going to have non-league sides taking on league sides, but that's a problem for them to worry about. As far as we're concerned, it's our local clubs, isn't it? And, the thing that we're facing, unfortunately, Si, is that it's going to be a case of hitting the pause button for a month, I fear.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, some of these clubs are in good form as well. So I guess it's the last thing that they want. Obviously, we're still waiting for an official statement to come out that everyone knows what's happening. At the time of us doing this, nobody knows, but I'm sure we can all guess what's going to happen, Pete.
Yeah, I think so. I think whatever happens, if in the unlikely event football at grassroots level is allowed to continue, I'm afraid it won't be with fans. That's pretty certain. I mean, the Football Association says it's awaiting further information before we can confirm how this will affect non-elite football across England. Well, what we've done, I've just had a little bit of a look, and, the scenario we feel is it's going to be a pause button for 4 weeks. So what's that going to mean to our local clubs? Well, Ware and Hartford have got 31 games left if everything restarts on the 5th of December, and 25 Saturdays to fit them into. So there's going to be at least 6 midweek games, and Ware aren't going to have any home postponements, obviously, with the artificial surface. But consider December, January and February the worst month for postponements. Ware are going to miss 4 games in November, Hartford are going to miss 5, and while Ware won't lose any at home, they're likely to lose some away. Already 6 midweeks penciled in. It's going to be really tight if they restart on the 5th of December, finish the season by the end of April.
Yeah, I guess you've got to consider, would the leagues, extend it till, mid-May, end of May, something like that. But, like you said, you're going to have postponements of games as well. You're going to have a lot of midweek games. And I think we could be, Saturday, Tuesday for a while if they do play the season out, Pete.
Well, absolutely. I mean, looking at Welling Garden, by the way, they've got an even bigger problem because they've got 33 games to fit in 25 Saturdays, and take one of those out because it's going to be the first round of the FA Trophy. So they already face 9 midweek matches without any further postponements, and they're going to miss 6 games in November. And obviously, what's going to happen with the first round of the FA Trophy? It was due on the 14th of November, the second round on the 5th of December. And it makes you wonder whether they're just going to push it forward around, because there is a kind of convenient gap between the semi-finals on the 27th of March and the final on the 8th of May. So, I guess they could be looking at doing that.
Yeah, the thing is, it's all a guessing game at the moment as to what they're going to do. Obviously, there is that gap, for the FA Trophy to do. But like I say, we know Welling Garden City, they've not had a lot of league games, a lot of games to catch up on. And I guess this is where a squad becomes so important to all those teams, Pete.
Yeah, I don't, it's okay for, managers like Jurgen Klopp moaning on about the number of injuries and the number of games those guys have got to play. But, those guys are full-time here. We're talking about guys who have to go to work and then come back, play 2 games a week. They have to pack up work early to go travelling and whatever. So, it's going to be interesting. Hopefully by next week's show, when obviously we won't have too much live action to report back on, we can have a more in-depth look at exactly what the FA and, the Department of Culture, Media and Sport have come up with.
Yeah, we'll be bringing everyone that as well. But, what else you've got to consider, if you're playing Tuesday, Saturday for weeks on end, if someone's out injured for 2-3 weeks, for example, they could miss half a dozen games, Pete.
Absolutely. And there have been thoughts, I think it's the Northern Premier League that polled all their members on whether they want a different way to finish the season. So you have this points per game thing where you don't actually play out the whole season, which will lead to a lot of clubs saying, well, wait a minute, their fixtures are more difficult than ours because they're playing more informed teams than we are. And it leads yourself home to all sorts of stuff, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, I did see something that the Isthmian League was going to speak to clubs about that as well. And I guess all the leagues will do. It's something they all need to consider, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, that's one thing, I suppose. The only thing from a radio perspective is in the coming weeks, there is going to be plenty to talk about and plenty to listen to. Let's look back on the action from last week, then going back exactly 7 days to Monday the 26th, the Essex Senior League, where it finished #United 1, Hoddesdon Town 0. Lily White's undone by a goal deep into time added on after a fighting display against the league leaders. Particularly notable performance from Simon Riddle's team as they had to reshuffle because of the absence of defenders Jack Gibson and Jack Riddle through injury. Cardan Campbell moved into the centre of defence and Harrison Rookard taking his place in midfield with Ben Quarrington-Carter getting his first start up front. Home side got off to a fast start, forcing 3 corners in the opening minutes. Chances, though, were few and far between. Liam Mulligan blocking Sama Suday's effort at one end and the Harrison Rookard sending a first-timer just over the bar at the other. Best early chance the second period fell to #Jesse Waller-Larson, missing the target from 8 yards out. Hoddesdon, though, should have taken the lead on the hour, but Anthony Page produced a spectacular save to deny Craig Tolley's downward header its place in the back of the net. The game went into the 5th minute of time added on when # won a corner, which was only half cleared by the Lily Whites defence, allowing Ryan O'Rourke to head the winner home. How gutting must that have been? I mean, you've gone there to the league leaders, you've held them all the way, 5th minute of time added on, and suddenly they've sneaked a win.
Yeah, I mean, it must have been heartbreaking for them. I was following the game on Twitter, Pete. Seeing how the Lily Whites were getting on, and that I was thinking, oh great, looks like they've got a point, and last minute goal. It's absolutely devastating for Simon Riddle and the team now.
Yeah, tough to take positives, but I guess the positive you must take is, look, you held them for 95 minutes and they're the team who are, running away with it almost. We'll look at the league table later, but they've got a substantial lead at the top of the table. Moving on to Tuesday, it's been League Division 1 at South Central, a game at Hartingford Berry Park, finished Hertford Town 2, Chalfont St Peter 1. Perfect way for the Blues to bounce back from the previous Saturday's disappointing display at Chertsey. Sam Fanian, the hero, scoring a brace against opponents who found themselves reduced to 10 men in the dying minutes. Things started well with Fanian burying his 4th of the season from the penalty spot after Jersawet Jagdev was brought down in the box. Chalfont had their chances to equalise after that. Sydney Iby's header drifting just wide, and Owen James' shot rising just above Luke Mewitt's crossbar. 8 minutes from half-time, though, Hertford doubled their advantage. Isaac Pedro shown good strength in midfield before setting up Sam Fanian for a cool finish past goalkeeper Andy McCorkle. Second half was a generally scrappy affair with the home fans left biting their nails when Brandon Callew headed home at Owen James' corner at the far post to reduce the arrears with 2 minutes left. Any chance for late recovery, though, was extinguished when Chalfont's Sean Preddy picked up a second yellow card in the 90th minute. 12 points from 7 games. It's Hertford's best start to a season since they were promoted from the South Midlands League 4 seasons ago. And last year took them until Boxing Day to notch 12 points, which they've already got.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic from them. Sam Fanian, we know he came in. He seems to have settled right into the squad. He's got a few goals for them now. And we was at the Chalfont game against Ware the other week, Pete, and that's a Little East Hearts double, and we've got one coming up in a minute as well, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Got a real one coming up in a minute as well. But we were at Watson Park on Tuesday night to witness the game between Ware and Harlow Town. Finished Ware 6, Harlow Town 1. And suffice it to say, it was an evening that home fans will not forget in a long time. Free kick to the far post, headed out well by Lewis Rose. Clearance completed by Tom Bruno. And on this near side, away goes Marcus Milner. Milner's only got Tommy Wade in the box. Milner's in the area here, right-hand side. Puts it across. Tommy Wade puts it in. And we're in front. 5 minutes gone. Tommy Wade's first of the season. Marcus Milner, the architect. And Harlow, the architects of their own downfall. Caught by a quick break at the corner. And Marcus Milner, who scored his first goal last week against Barking, has provided the assist here for Tommy Wade to put Ware in front. Camera flash goes on the far side. Tom Bruno will take the kick. Bruno's kick to the near post. Chris Arthur volleys it home. Superb goal. And a first goal in a Ware shirt for Chris Arthur. Excellent free kick by Tom Bruno to the near post. And Arthur volleys it past young Callum Taylor. And 14 minutes gone. Ware lead 2-0. Tom Bruno lets the ball run, and Dan Romans finds Lee Rose. Lee Rose on this near side. Good ball. Here's Milner. Milner, chance to tee up the cross, and Taylor does well to pour it away at his near post. Kone going to the left, tees up the cross. It's a good cross, and in the area, it's good work by Marcus Milner. Breaks on the edge of the area for Alcock. Here's George Doyle. Oh, wow. For all intents, it looked like they'd gone in the back of the net for a minute, but it actually hit the stanchion at the back. Harlow gives it away to Arthur. He finds Alarushti. Arthur's continued the run. Here goes Chris Arthur. It's 3 against 1 for a minute here for Ware. Chris Arthur, 3-0 Ware. Chris Arthur's second of the game. And once again, Harlow Town caught on the break. And this is turning into some night so far for Paul Hall's team. 31 minutes gone. Chris Arthur scores his second of the night. It's Ware 3, Harlow 0. And continue. Sam Fanian's got another one for Hertford. Here's Marcus Milner. Milner across for Tommy Wade. And Tommy Wade's got another one for Ware. Ware lead 4-0. Marcus Milner, the architect again. 2 assists for him. 2 goals for Tommy Wade. And Ware leads the Essex Arts derby by 4-0 with 6 minutes to go before half-time. Here's Bruno again. Ware won a 5th. And here goes Marcus Milner. He might just provide it. Chris Arthur making his way up on the far side. Wide. Goal gaping. Could have had a hat-trick. And right-footed downfield. Decent kick onto the chest of Lewis Rose. And that's the end of the action here at Watson Park. Half-time score here. Ware 4, Harlow 0. With the right boot. Tom Bruno swings across with the right boot at the far post. Sliding in was Dave Kendall. But the ball goes wide of the target. Perhaps too far in advanced position. Here's Marcus Milner, though. And Milner sending Finley Titchmarsh away down that right-hand side. Titchmarsh is in the area here. Titchmarsh goes down. Tommy Wade has scored a hat-trick. Well, did Tommy get a touch? Doesn't really matter. Finley Titchmarsh and Milner again proving a thorn in the Hawks' side. And when the ball came across, I think the number 4 got the faintest of touches. If he did, hat-trick Tommy Wade. But really, Ware won't care because it's 5-0. Bruno switches the ball from left to right. Finley Titchmarsh coming forward. Titchmarsh still coming forward. Titchmarsh for Tommy Wade. Finley Titchmarsh, 6-0 Ware. Tommy Wade the provider. And Finley Titchmarsh scores his first goal in a Ware shirt. And what a finish. Wow. They absolutely carved through that Harlow defence again. And what a moment for the young 17-year-old who has been absolutely outstanding. Harlow have got a chance here. Coming forward, Courtney Austin plays the right ball in. Is Jaden Phillips, and Jaden Phillips scores a consolation goal for Harlow Town. Hits first in a Harlow shirt. Ware couldn't keep the clean sheet. And with 3 minutes to go, it's Ware 6, Harlow Town 1. Gordon's ball forward, easily picked off by Dave Kendall. Adamson finds Reece Crowder. That's going to be the end of the action here at Watson Park. It's finished in the Hertfordshire Essex derby. Ware 6, Harlow Town 1.
Paul, fantastic 6-1 victory. That first half, 4-0 up. I bet you was delighted then, weren't you?
Yeah, I was really pleased at the way we conducted ourselves. I knew they had made 5 new signings and they'd bring them in tonight. So to start like we did, I've been a little bit disappointed the way we've been starting of late. And even in the first 2 minutes, they had 2 corners. So, but I think after that, we tore them apart. It's, simple as that. We created so many good chances. The goals were exceptional. I was in a bit of a quandrum today whether to start Wadey and weren't involved obviously Saturday, and he'd been on the bench the previous game. So he's come in and done a difference. He made a difference and he scored that trick, which I'm really pleased for him. Really pleased the way he played. I thought Marcus was exceptional again. I think he's stepped up since I've had a word with him. Chris Arthur is just, you can see he's been pro, can't you? Because the fella's got everything about him. He's calm, he sees a pass, he gets back in when he needs to get back in. So and I made the decision to bring Tom straight back in, and I think that was right. Lee's carried a bit of an hamstring, but he went through the whole game. So really pleased at the first half, really pleased. And I said to him at half time that you can't stop on your load. You can't, you've got to keep and it's hard for them. I said to him in the end, it's hard for them to keep that tempo up for 90 minutes. It's always going to be hard. But I asked them and they did, and I thought we dropped off a little bit the second half. But they've obviously felt the game's won. They might have felt the game's they didn't give up, to be fair. Dave's got a job on his hands there, their manager. And I thought, listen, individual performances, I thought Finn was outstanding again. I thought Tommy done well, got his goals, got in the right area. Chris done well, Marcus, Tom. Individually I thought we done very well, and collectively I thought we was superb.
That's it. You say about Finley Titchmarsh, that's his first goal for Ware, and that's 14 different scorers now that you've got this season.
Is it?
Yeah.
So, as you well know from last season, when you boys started covering us, that I do tend to score. I've been a bit concerned with the goals because, and it's weird really, we put 3 Bench Park in with 4 Saturday and then 6 tonight. So, and then not including the other goals. We went from minus goals and then we're plus what? I think we scored probably plus 10 now, and we would have been 11, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
So, it's just great. It's great that you get players scoring from all over the park, because you don't always, we're a side that don't, because we're so, and we like to get the ball down and play and we move it really quickly, I think that, it's a compliment to the lads that we do score from different players.
Yeah.
And it is good because, I look at who's not scored, Pat.
Pat has.
Probably Pat.
Yeah.
Only one of a few starters, probably one of the few that has not scored. I think Lee scored, Tom, Bruno might have scored. But even from the first game we played at Southend Manor away, five goals that night, it's slow. We've started slow, and, we've had 3 games that, a lot of people will say, well, they're down the bottom. Barking are starting to turn their season around, which they did last year. They started late. Harlow and South Park, but we can only beat what's in front of us, and we've got to improve, and we've got to make sure that when we play the better teams like Marlow next week, we've got to step up. That's
it. And you say about Marlow next Tuesday, no game this weekend. I bet you'd have liked a game, wouldn't you?
No, not really, because we've got injuries the boys need. Rumans is injured, he fell off a ladder at work. Lee's carrying knocks. Gives us a little bit of chance to get Albert and obviously Liam fit. So, as much as a lot of people are looking for a game, I just don't think, listen, the way we go every week for a game, missing Saturday, playing Tuesday is 1 week. So, no, not really. I don't think I don't really want a game. And what players need minutes, we'll probably play down the 23s on Thursday.
Fair enough.
If it's on.
We shall see you back here next Tuesday, Paul. Thank you very much.
Lovely. Thanks, gentlemen.
Well, understandably, Paul Halsey was delighted with that performance, and so was everybody who saw them play, because, okay, Hollow are bottom of the league, they're struggling, they brought in 12 new players in October, But, when you got Liam, we spoke to Liam Hope afterwards. Liam said, well, actually, I was only on the bench because I wasn't really fit to play. He's a man who scored over 30 goals last year. You put Tommy Wade in. Tommy's wearing the number 4 shirt. Turns up with a hat-trick. I mean, first hat-trick for him in a wear shirt. But, what a team performance. I was saying in commentary, it's really difficult to pick a man of the match. It should have been the whole squad.
Yeah, it was. I mean, everyone absolutely, put a 100% performance in. It was fantastic. That second half, that I would say that is the best second half of football that I've seen since we started doing this. They were absolutely fantastic. And Peter, I do want to say one thing. We talked before. You mentioned your record about Hertford. I've still got my record. I hope I'm not jinxing it, but I've still not seen Ware losing the league.
That's it. You're going to be the lucky mascot. Paul's going to have you going out there in front of the team, as Ware's lucky mascot. Attendance of 249 on the night, by the way. First time Ware have put 6 past Harlow since 1951. Thank you to Steve, Statman King, for that. And I've looked it up, Steve. It was the 13th of January 1951. Ware 8, Harlow 1. Alf Kliss scored a hat-trick. So a little bit of same there as Tommy Wade getting a hat-trick. 2 for Greenhill, 2 for Goodley and 1 for Hibber. Alf Kliss, by the way, went on to make 411 appearances for Ware. He's 5th on the all-time appearance chart. So what a night. Just a little word for Harlow. I mean, I don't know what to say because Ware was so good, but Harlow are really going to struggle unless they sort things out quickly.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they've made a lot of signings and I think they just need some time to gel together. Obviously, with this potential lockdown happening, gives them a bit of time to sort of, rejuvenate, think about what's going on, and hopefully, obviously, they can't all train together. I know that, but gives them a bit of a break to sort a few things out and get themselves together and start climbing that table, Pete. I mean, obviously with Saturday's result, I know we'll come on to the league tables, etc. in a bit, but 9 games in a row they've lost now. It's not looking good for them.
No, not looking good. Not looking good for them. Ware don't want the season to end, obviously, at the moment. Unfortunately, it will be doing so. But hopefully, when we get back to playing, they'll pick up that form again. On the same night, the weather played its part, unfortunately, at the Utilita, where Welwyn Garden City's game against AFC Dunstable was postponed, as was St Margaret's for his Essex Senior League meeting with Hadley. On to Wednesday, there was a game in the Essex Senior League, finished Ilford 0, Sawbridge Worth Town 0. And a game on Thursday was postponed as well, where's under 23s, although we know they're under 18s, playing in the Bluefin Sport Insurance Development League at Brentwood Town. Shame that was postponed. Those two were first and second in the table. Moving on to Friday, Hart Senior County League Premier Division. Brilliant win for Hoddesdon's Reserves. This finished Hoddesdon Town Reserves 4, Wingate Finchley Development, who have been flying 3. Joe Babbage, Tommy Jeffrey, Ethan Rookard and Mark Stevenson, the scorers for the Lily White second string. So to this past Saturday and the FA Trophy, third qualifying round down in Sussex, finished Horsham 1, Welwyn Garden City 1, but Welwyn Garden City, of course, going through on penalties. A brilliant performance by the citizens to take them into the first round. Well, they could draw a team from the National League, of course. Horsham, 12th in the Isthmian League Premier Division, came into the game on the back of 2 home wins, in which they'd scored 9 and conceded only 2. Nicky Ironton shuffled the back to fit the impressive Ryan Doherty into a 4-man midfield, recalling Ali Nietzsche in a reshaped defence in the absence of Lee Close. Visitors were also missing, by the way, the injured Dave Keenley side and Elliot Bailey, with George Ironton only fit enough for a place on the bench. Home side took the lead against the run of play after the citizens of bruised chances for Charlie Bain and Jack Vasey. 19 minutes in, though, Tom Day's cross was headed home by Chris Smith to put the Hornets in front. That sprung Horsham into life, and Charlie Crowley was forced to save from Day and Charlie Harris. The visitors, though, stayed in the game and had chances themselves as the half drew to a close. Robbie Buchanan forcing a good save out of homekeeper Bradley House and Thomas Hapuku heading just over the top. George Ironton and Jordan Kinoshi were introduced just before the hour mark. George having an immediate impact, forcing a good save out of house before, with just 20 minutes remaining, he turned inside the Horsham box and unleashed an unstoppable shot into the top right-hand corner. Both sides had opportunities after that, Horsham coming closest, but Aaron Hopkinson's long-range effort curled over Charlie Crowley, but thankfully rebounded off the crossbar. With no play, it was straight to penalties. Hopkinson seeing his effort saved by Charlie Crowley as Jay Rolfe, Jack Vasey, Robbie Buchanan and George Ironton all scored, leaving Patrick Akwasi to slot home the game winner. And what a performance, and just so pleased for them, because they were so disappointed against Bishop Stortford in the FA Cup when they virtually did the same thing but didn't get through on penalties. And we see what Stortford have done in the FA Cup, but this time, team from the same level, and they did manage to go through.
That's it. I mean, like you say, the same sort of result. It sounds like it was the same sort of performance as well. I mean, Pete, obviously you should have been there doing the commentary. Unfortunate circumstances, being a traffic accident, prevented you from going. And we hope that everyone involved in that traffic accident is okay. And fantastic performance. Like you say, they lost that penalty shootout to Bishop Stortford 4-2. And I will say, thanks to them for live streaming the penalty shootout, because that was absolutely fantastic. 5-4 victory. You could see, the celebrations afterwards, and into the first round of the FA Trophy for the first time. Whenever that's going to be, Pete, there was absolute praise galore on Twitter for the team, wasn't there?
Oh, absolutely. And I tell you, when that first round comes around, I'm leaving home at 9 o'clock in the morning, all right, because I'm definitely getting there. But Nicky Ironton, who, of course, got a winner's medal in this competition, let's not forget. Well, I've been back in 1982 with Enfield. That was one of the best Welwyn Garden City performances I have seen for a long time. Absolutely incredible tactics, worked to a T, 5-4 on penalties after a 1-1 draw. I don't really praise George much, but his goal was out of this world, and he changed the game when he came on. Ricky Crace said the Welwyn Garden City boys were absolute class today, deserved everything they got. Love it when a plan comes together. Proud with a large number of exclamation marks. And Charlie Crowley, what a performance. Players were excellent and management were even better with a game plan that played out to a T. Nicky Ironton and Ricky Crace. First round proper, here we come.
That's it. I mean, David Coates, we had it on as a guest before. He also took to Twitter. He said, a brilliant result. This set of lads never know when they are beaten. And, absolutely fantastic. I know George took to Twitter as well. He said he doesn't often tweet, but, how proud he was of the team. And, there's so many players, the management, the fans, everyone, absolutely fantastic performance. Well done, guys. Really, really proud of you. And, we will see you in that first round when, once it's drawn.
Yeah, most definitely. And, let's add to this, no Lee Close, no Dave Keenley side, no Elliot Bailey. So, you got 3 real first-team regulars out. And young Ryan Doherty, well, we spotted him against Kempston, how cool he looked when he came on into the centre of the defence to make his debut. He and Jack Vasey got joint men of the match.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. He came in for that game, like you say, against Campston. Looked really solid. He got a lot of praise for that, and he's coming again and done a job again, Pete.
Absolutely. Well, on the same afternoon, there was another FA competition with one of our teams in it, but unfortunately, this one went in the opposite direction. In the FA Vars first round, finished Walsham Le Willows 5, Hoddesdon Town 1. Trip to forget for the Lily Whites as they bowed out of the competition. Soggy conditions didn't help, but Simon Riddle's team could have few excuses for not performing to the level we know they're capable of on the day. Walsham are well placed in the Thurlow Nunn Premier and approached the match full of confidence. Goals from Charlie Norman and Kieran Twin, putting the home side 2-0 up at the break. A scoreline that was greeted by Hoddesdon Town Twitter in usual philosophical fashion, saying, the bad news is we are 2-0 down at half-time. The good news is the wonderful staff at Walsham Le Willows are offering table service, cheeseburger and a coffee incoming. Unfortunately, the cheeseburger had hardly had time to go down when Jamie Smith scored number 3. Kieran Twin then tapped in number 4 before Jack Gibbs slid home Aidan Critchley's free kick give the visiting fans at least something to cheer with 2 minutes remaining. There was still, though, time for Kieran Twin to complete his hat-trick as Walsham headed for the second round. The Lily Whites were left to concentrate on the league.
Yeah, unfortunate result for them, and it sounds like things really didn't go their way at all. But like you say, I mean, they're well placed in the league. Concentrate on that and see where they can go from there.
Yeah, certainly. And Hoddesdon Twitter after the game, congratulations to our host and best wishes for the rest of the season. Hospitality has been excellent despite the COVID restrictions in place, so thank you and well done. That is what we love about non-league football. Let's have a look at what happened in our three leagues over the weekend. The Isthmian League Division 1 South Central, only 4 games on Saturday, but they left the top of the table looking like this. Waltham Abbey played 8, 16 points, but they lost their second on the spin, lost 2-0 at home to Westfield. Staines are up to second, played 8, 16 points. They won 3-1 against FC Romania. Nobody else in the top 5 played. Ware in third, played 7-15. Tooting played 7-15 and Bracknell played 5-13. Hertford in ninth, played 7-12, and the bottom 2, Northwood, played 8, 4 points, and Harlow, as we were mentioning earlier, played 8, 4 points, lost 1-0 at home to Chalfont. Southern League Division 1 Central, only one of the top 5 played on Saturday. Corby remained top of the table, played 7-15. Aylesbury United played 6-13. Bedford Town played 7-12, as have Bedworth in fourth, played 7-12. Only team to play were Hales Owen. They probably wish they didn't. They lost 3-1 at AFC Dunstable, but they're still fifth, played 11 points. But looking good for the Citizens. I mean, they may be down in 10th, but they've only played 5 and they've got 10 points already. So pick up a couple of those games eventually and could well make themselves back into the top 5. Bottom 2, neither played. North Lee in 19th, played 7-6 points. Biggleswade bottom, played 6-3. In the Essex Senior League, only one of the top 5 played there on Saturday as well. Hashtag United still top of the table, played 11, 28 points. The game at Enfield was called off. Stansted second, played 11-23. Got Foster's third, played 9-20. Saffron Walden Town were the only team to play. They played 13, 19 points to beat Woodford 2-1. Walthamstow in fifth, played 9-18. Hoddesdon seventh, played 10-16. Sawbridgeworth 13th and St Margaret's-Bury 16th. The bottom 2, Clapton played 10, 4 points in 17th. 18th, Woodford Town played 11, 3 points. They had their first win, of course, against Sporting Bengal last week. So, Simon, not a lot changed at the tops of the tables, but I guess the interesting one, the Isthmian League Division 1 South Central, where Ware and Hertford both are, is the wheels seem to have come off temporarily at Waltham Abbey.
Yeah, they've had a couple of games where they've not performed as well. Like you said, a couple of defeats and that. And we was a little bit surprised that they were top. Obviously, I know they were doing well last season. They was up, towards them playoff places. But like we know, it always takes 10, 12 games for the table to take shape. And now things have paused for a little bit. We don't know what's going on, but give it a few more games, and we might get a more realistic view of where teams could be towards the end of the season.
Yeah, I think the danger team for me still a Bracknell are lurking there. I've played only 5 games, 13 points. Pre-season favourites for the title, and I don't see any reason why they're not going to continue like that.
No, that's it. I mean, we said last season that they were favourites. A couple of other people that we had on as guests said they were as well, and they do seem to be the team to look out for, don't they?
Certainly do. Let's look at the rest of the action from Saturday in the Hart Senior County League Premier Division. Not much going on because the games involving all of our sides were postponed. Top of the table had Royston top, played 9-21. Wingate and Finchley Development lost at Hoddesdon, of course, on Friday, played 9-20. Bellstone in third, played 6-15. Bush Hill Rangers fourth, played 9-15. In Division 1, Hertford Heath 2, Buntingford Hungerford 2. Standard and Buckeridge game against Sunsports was off. Oracle Components lead the way. Blade 8-21 from Oxley. Blade 9-18. Buntingford in 9th. Harford Heath in 11th. And in Division 2, Ware Sports game at Sandridge Rovers Reserves was off. That's Ware Sports Reserves. Top of the table, Hemel Hempstead Rovers played 6-16. Hadley Saturday Vets played 8-16. Was a bit more action in the Hertford District League. A good win for Westmill in the Premier Cup. Finished MKS Carpentry 1, Westmill 5. Ewan Edwards got a pair. Matthew Moore, Louis Debnan and Oliver Tokley for the Mill. In the Premier Division, Bungio Trinity 2, Stotfold Junior Town 5. And a good win for Allenbridge. Finished Culture Club Athletic 3, Allenbridge 4. Mill Lane topped the table, played 7-16. Westmill played 5-13 in second. Allenbridge up to fourth now, played 7-8 points. In Division 1, well, this was the place to be if you wanted to see goals, because in 3 games involving just our teams in Division 1, there were 22 goals. It finished Ickleford 2, Watton Stone 8. Ben Walker got a hat-trick, 2 for Harvey Deards, Lewis Charles, Nathan Hall and George Williams, the scorers. And that led to the Hertford and District League putting an immediate amendment on their scores, didn't they? Because they had it down as a 2-0 win for Ickleford.
Yeah, Watton weren't happy with that. They said, they did recorrect them on the scores, but they put the wrong score on the tweet, but the scores on the FA player were actually correct. So, I was looking at it. I wasn't sure, and wanted to make sure. Obviously, we're reporting the right score, Pete.
Yeah, we certainly almost needed the teleprinter, not quite. Really? But also finished Shearing 3, Albury 0, and another big scoring game. Thunderbridge United 2, Hertford Heath Reserves 7. Hertford Heath Reserves go to the top of the table with that. Played 6-15 from Shearing, who've also played 6-15, and Watton Stone are up to fourth with a game in hand on both of those. In Division 2, some more goals about. Finished Greenbury United 2, Bengio Trinity Vets 3, Chang Carer, Terry McHugh and Simon Scott, again another one for the Vets. And Inter Hoddesdon have been involved in so many high-scoring games this season. Again on Saturday, it finished Mangrove 5, Inter Hoddesdon 3. The Mangrove scorers Albert Alev, Mark Britton, Fred Clark, Bowles Nemeth and Lewis Collins. For Inter, James Stevens got a pair and Giovanni Bonura. 11 goals in 3 games for Inter so far, but have only won one of them.
It's fantastic that they've had such entertaining games, but they need to get the right result or get on the right side of those high-scoring games, Pete, didn't they?
Absolutely. If only they could keep it tight at the right end, they'd be unbeatable. But top of the table, Watermaby A, 6 games played, 16 points. Mangrove up to second, 14 from 6. Bengio Trinity Vets, 13 from 6. In hockey, day to forget for Hertford, finished in Eastern Region Division 2 South, Colchester 7, Hertford 1. Old Loutonians 3 still top the table, played 6, 14 points. An entertaining game, drew 5-all with whopping 4s. West Hearts 2s in second, played 6-13. Hertford down to 6, played 6-10. Bad result for Hertford, but a very good one for Welwyn Garden City. Finished in Division 3 Southwest. Cheshunt 1, Welwyn Garden City 5. Great win this for the City boys. James Fowler, Rob Sansom, Ben O'Boyle in his final game for the club. Bryn Evans and Dave Alleman-Smith were the scorers. Letchworth 2's head the table, played 6-15 from Berkhamsted, played 6-14. Welwyn Garden City up to fourth, played 6-10 points. And to complete the action, there was basketball, the Oakland Wolves' first NBL game of the season. Unfortunately, it went down to a 4-point home defeat against Nottingham McDonald's Hoods. Finished Oakland Wolves 72, Nottingham McDonald's Hoods 76. Jordan Santiago, the new American signing, top scored 23 points and 6 rebounds. Just 1 point in it going into the final quarter. But I think probably definitely signs of progress there, because they were being thumped a little last season, only lost that one by 4. Who knows when they're going to play their next one. So that rounds all that up. There was a bit of transfer news involving Welwyn Garden City coming in. They've reinforced their defensive options by adding central defenders Sam Marfo and Ben Spranger. Marfo joined and previously has been with combined counties league side Walton and Hersham, although he is a Hearts base player. And Spranger has returned to the area after university in Portsmouth. They've also added Lunray Larry Belogan, who was a local lad from Hatfield, been a scholar for 3 seasons at Dagenham and Redbridge, and has had a loan spell with Canvey Island. He's a striker, so everything they're achieving, but, Nicky's still adding to the squad.
Yeah, I mean, I think we mentioned before, Pete, that he might well be looking for a new striker, and he's obviously signed one there. So it's adding to the squad, and like we said before, I think these teams are potentially going to be needing a few more players in with all them games that they've still got to play after this lockdown happens, and we'll see from there. Speaking of Welwyn Garden City. I was speaking to Alex Harris earlier in the week. We said before he'd gone over to America on a scholarship. Their season has been delayed until after Christmas, but I know he's been tuning in, so I will say good evening or morning or afternoon, whatever it is over there in America for him. I know he was hoping to listen in on the commentary on Saturday, Pete, but he said he's going to be back sometime over Christmas. So maybe that's someone that we can catch up with when he comes back.
Most definitely. Book yourself in, Alex. Book yourself in the show. Wait a minute, how about this? And Welwyn Garden City are through to the first round. Sorry, I couldn't do it live, but, it would have sounded like that. Rugby news, the RFU have announced there will be no competitive league rugby this season, which is really sad. In a statement on the club's website, Hartford Rugby Club Chair Karen Newby said, this doesn't mean, however, there will be no rugby at all. The RFU are working on adaptations to the game to allow some form of contact rugby to take place this season. Our clubhouse remains open. We hope to open our kitchen very shortly. We'll continue to train and we remain at stage D, but are aware that could change with very short notice from the government. I'm in discussions with the Hertfordshire Rugby Football Union on the implications of this decision. We'll also be communicating my thoughts to the RFU directly. We have never experienced anything like this pandemic in our lifetime, but with determination and good humour, I'm confident in Hertford Rugby Football Club's ability to pass through this storm. So we keep our fingers crossed, of course, for them.
There was one other bit of transfer news that I spotted during the week, Pete. Carl Roberts, he signed for Cockfosters. He signed for them last Monday, obviously from St Margaret's-Bury. He went straight into their squad for Tuesday night's game. And, Pete, Mags, they're going to miss him. 7 goals he'd got from this season. He had that spell at Ware last year, which didn't work out well for him. But going to Cockfosters, we know they've been doing well in the league, and I think he might do well there.
Yeah, I think he will do there under, Ryan Wade, who, of course, was a striker, who's the manager there. And, Max will be looking for a striker because, they've got to get some goals from somewhere. And he was your man to put the goals together, wasn't he? Looking at other, hockey news, it's all not very good news at the moment. England Hockey have announced club hockey will be suspended until December the 4th. So the major problem they've got, obviously, is a lot of hockey clubs don't own their own ground. So they're using sports facilities, which are all going to be closed. They went on to say the government announcement made reference to returning to the COVID alert levels after the end of this period of lockdown. And should that be the case, we're confident the clubs will be able to resume promptly in line with our previously issued return to play guidance. So let's keep our fingers crossed for the girls and the men at Hertford Rugby Club and Welwyn Garden City Rugby Club. But that goes ahead. There's also been some basketball news for Oakland's Wolves. Now, the ladies' team have announced their squad for the forthcoming WBBL season, which is due to start on December the 12th. So, fingers crossed it does. And returning for another season are Hungarian international Katie Fulop, who's the longest-serving player in Wolves history, our Hungarian international teammate Dorka Boros, Great Britain under-20 forward Lewis Rouse, Lauren Milligan, who's back for a 4th season, and guard Lizzie Harrison. New faces so far are also Estonian international international guard Greta Upras. She last played for Udinese SK Tallinn, where she averaged 26 points a game. Experienced forward Melissa Quick, who returns to the WBBL after scoring 18.4 points a game for Cardiff Archers a couple of seasons ago. She's most recently been playing in Portugal. And Amari Carter, who arrives from the University of Arizona Wildcats and was named at number 32 in ESPN's top college prospects in 2015. The squad will also contain 5 under-18 players from the junior programme. So, sounds some exciting signings, internationals, and, new American import as well, who's very highly rated in the college system.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope they can get integrated with the squad, really quickly, get a bit of team cohesion. And, we've said before that they're kind of getting a few different teams under their belt. They've rebranded as Oakland Wolves, and let's see how they progress, and could be exciting times there, Pete.
Certainly a real centre of excellence. Well, we've been following the fortunes of Stoke Gabriel FC from the West Country, who unfortunately can lay claim to the title of Britain's worst football team. There is a reason behind this. There are lots of problems at the club, and they're effectively having to put the youth team out in a really competitive senior league. So there are reasons behind this, but last time we checked their progress, we think things were turning around a little bit. They only went down 3-0 to Ivybridge. Well, I'm sad to report that since then, things have rolled down the hill at a pace. They lost 14-0 at home to Plymouth Marjon, 15-0 at Axminster Town, and 17-1 at home to Ilfracombe. Their last 3 results being 10-0 defeat by Elmore, 6-0 at Sidmouth, and this coming last Saturday, 17-2 at Honington Town. So leaving them bottom of the Kitchkin Kit South West Premier East, played 15, lost 15, 4-5 against 187 with a goal difference of minus 182. But there is still hope, because I love this on Twitter from @ExeterFlitch, who tweeted this weekend just past, was at Honiton today. Boys gave all as usual. Honiton, good team, more about them than Sidmouth. Great to see 2 scored. Proud as always. Now there's a really optimistic fan.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great that they're getting those fans still following them, not giving up on them. And, it sounds like, those last half a dozen games, they've scored 3 goals. And I know from, we've mentioned them. I know they've been on the BBC website as well and mentioned them. From what I gather, they've actually brought in a few extra people in through the gate through this exposure.
Well, let's hope we keep it going. And the one big up I want for them, because I think that a real bugbear of mine is clubs that put loads of social media together, they get flash websites, and have a couple of defeats, and suddenly everything disappears. All the social media disappears. Well, a massive thumbs up to Stoke Gabriel, because if they can keep their social media going and their website updated, then nobody has got an excuse to leave a website ever again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've said before, we've struggled to find a couple of results or, scores or that. Our teams haven't updated, after a defeat, and absolutely thumbs up to them. Well done, and keep up the good work on the Twitter and keeping up everyone updated.
Yeah. So if you've abandoned your website or your social media, take a yellow card from the referee. Here she comes. You're listening to 90 Minutes on East Hearts Radio in association with Universal Signs.
Right, welcome back from that break, and we're now joined by our guests. We've got Andy and Ethan Gannon with us. Guys, thanks very much for joining us, and it's a pleasure to have you on finally.
Well, thank you very much for allowing us to be on your show tonight.
It's pleasure. Ethan, I'll come to you first. I mean, you've had a great start to your career. We'll get on to playing for Ware and that in a bit, but I'm going to go right back. How old was you when you first started playing, and who was you playing for at the time?
I started around 4 or 5 when I joined Woodson Park's development team. which eventually was formed as Woodson Park Rovers, which Dad ended up taking over from running at under sevens.
So he's got me to blame for this.
Yeah. It's always the case, though, isn't it? You know, you take your kids' football and you get involved in the coaching somehow, isn't it, Andy?
Yeah, well, I did Ethan's elder brother for many years, and I thought I'd be taking a step back. But when no one stood up to take over the role as manager for the team, it was left to me. So, and the rest is history now for Ethan.
When was it that you started playing in goal, Ethan? Was it something you sort of fell into? Because I know from, you know, I coach my daughter's team, and you encouraged, everyone to, take a turn in goal. Was it that, or is it something that you actually wanted to do?
Well, no, it was something I hated originally. Hated. Our goalkeeper, who was in goal for us, ended up leaving, and Dad said to me, "Why don't you go in goal? It'll be great fun." Didn't like it at all, but had to stick to it because I originally enjoyed playing a bit up front, taking all the glory, but now stuck in goal, taking all the rubbish from all the fans. Just seemed a bit destined to go in goal. Because Muppet Chops here used to play in goal, so just seemed like I was put into it.
And also, how old was you then when you first went in goal?
So
probably 6 or 7.
Yeah, it was probably about that. But the irony of it was that we had Tommy Shepherd up front for us at the time, so there was a chance Ethan was going to take that role.
So how did that happen, Andy? I mean, like you said, you as coach, and then obviously, going to all the games and things like that, you've said to him, right, have a go in goal. And did that continue for a little while? Did you continue sticking in goal, or?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to him, I played in goal, and Ethan just has a good hand-eye coordination. So, and putting it bluntly, there was no one else that was capable of going between the posts. So it became almost a position by default. But he grew into the role fairly quickly, and so much to his disgust, he had to continue. But eventually, he sort of warmed to the role. But
I say rolling around in the mud every day was pretty good fun.
How long did it take you to sort of enjoy that role, Ethan, and realise that that was where you wanted to play?
Well, I say it took several years. I'd say it took a lot of convincing that this is where I was staying for the rest of the time. But yeah, about 2-3 years before I actually went, maybe it's not too bad. There's some good sides to being in goal, but yeah.
I think ultimately it came once we started playing a few tournaments, because when you're playing the under 7s, under 8s, there's not a lot going on. And then once we all entered a few tournaments, and then he started to shine a bit. And obviously a few parents were saying, "Oh, Ethan, somebody went in goal this week." And then gradually, I think that the confidence built with him. And then, we just pushed it on from there. And he quietened down, stopped moaning, and started taking the plaudits that started coming his way. So, yeah.
I mean, you say there's a few tournaments and he started to shine. Was there a moment for you, Andy, that thought he had something special about him in goal?
It's difficult because, when you're his dad, it's difficult. And, and also then you're managing the team. You try and sort of ensure that you're encouraging all the players and they're all performing well. And it's difficult because obviously you've got rotations. And if it doesn't always go right and, the goals go in and someone's got to be blamed, and sometimes it's the keeper because that's the last line of defence. But, no, he just kept pushing on. And I don't say there was one point. It was just a gradual development for him. And I think really sort of under 9s, under 10s, it started sort of to manifest itself to say, yeah, okay, I think, there's something here where, we can push him on. But, and then I, due to work commitments, decided that I had to give up managing Watson under 10s. And then I knew the coach at Wormley, and when we went from 9-a-side to 11-a-side, we decided to merge the two teams, and 5-6 of the lads from Watson went across to Wormley, and We had a very successful team there for a few years, and that just pushed Ethan on further.
So you went over to Wormley, Ethan. Where did you go from there? Because I know you worked a bit with Ian Biggerdike. He's been a big influence on you. So how did you come across him, and where did you go from Wormley?
I met Ian through some of the coaching staff at Wormley, who suggested that it's probably worth going to him just for a few sessions, see how he is, if I like him. And literally from the first session, I went, that's it, he's the best coach I've ever had. I've had no real proper goalkeeping coaching from ever. So it's my first ever proper goalie coach, and just learned so much from him over nearly 2, 3, 4 years now. And just pretty much all down to him, I'd say. The level I'm playing at now is all thanks to him. Yeah. And so went from Wormley, had the good seasons there, and then whilst I was there, I was playing for Spurs, doing training, boxing, all the rest of it, and then moved to Ware once that team had eventually folded. But so we had a good run there and had a pretty good thing going. But good things come to an end, and then moved on to Ware, and hopefully more good things to come.
Yeah, I mean, you've had a few coaching trips abroad, haven't you? And you've been to Eindhoven, Madrid, you've been to Lisbon. That's all been organised through Ian. How beneficial has that been to your progress?
Yeah, massively beneficial. I mean, just getting other goalkeeping coaches, different points of views on different techniques, what you should be doing in different situations. Just their general style of goalkeeping is massively different from anywhere else you go, and just depends on from coach to coach. But I say it's really good insight to go to all these pros and see what they do, their style, how they do it, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't. And it's just great insight for what you should, and hopefully just playing well and just not doing all the wrong things.
I remember seeing, I think it must have been on your dad's Twitter last year when you went over to Madrid. You had some fantastic weather over there as well, didn't you? It was all over here freezing, and you was there in the sunshine.
Yeah, I say it was a nice change to actually go over there, get away from all the rain, all the misery. And so it was a great time over there. Just facilities, immaculate, some of the best training grounds, coaches, everything. And so we had our MK Dons FA Youth Cup game whilst we were out there, and me and Cameron Rackett, who was also another goalkeeper aware, me and him were sitting on the coach, just watching this, all the tweets coming out from the game, watching the score 1-0, 2-1, all the rest of it, screaming and shouting on the bus, thinking we might win, end up winning, celebrations that night, and had a great time, say, from another couple thousand miles away.
Yeah, I mean, that trip, I mean, Andy, you sent me a message saying, when you was, because you was on the way to watch Atletico Madrid against Alaves, when you had a police escort. Are you allowed to tell us that story?
Yeah. Well, it's quite funny because Ian Biggerdike, who organised the trip to Madrid, organised for us to go to, not only to go to the Bernabeu, but we went to Atletico's ground, and then he got us tickets to go and see Atletico play away at Alaves. That was all fine. It's great. We had the coach organised. We was about 10 miles outside Alaves, and the police pulled the coach over. And long and short of it was that very few Spanish supporters actually travel away, and especially because of the big distances. It had been flagged up on the booking site at Alaves that a coach of 50 supporters were coming up from Madrid, and they thought they were sort of ultras or come to cause some trouble at the game. So the police came on the coach. They was armed with guns, thinking they were going to see a load of really heavy mob-handed away fans. And there's, the likes of Ethan and a few parents, and we're all sitting there having a sing-song on the coach. So it was a bit of an anticlimax for them. But because the coach, again, it was registered, it was in Madrid. So obviously the police then had to escort us actually in right next to the stadium. So, and all these home fans from Alaves were just looking and going, what what the hell's going on here, But it was an amusing evening, and then they escorted us back out as well. But again, I have to say, I'm just plugging in, but it was an incredible experience that he puts forward for all the goalkeepers to go and experience these types of events.
Yeah, I mean, saying about them events, where Ethan's been and stuff like that. How do these trips actually come about? Because for people from these lower league clubs to get involved and to go on a trip like that, how does that opportunity come?
Well, I think Ian has a great goalkeeping network. Particularly, he works very closely with Ben Foster at GK Icon. So between Ben's contacts, Ian's. They obviously speak to other goalkeeping coaches, particularly like when we went to Eindhoven with Hank Sager's son, who's also a goalkeeping coach at Eindhoven. These goalkeepers, all the boys and girls, they've had some fantastic experiences. They use the England coach to go over. They turn up in Eindhoven, and particularly with Hans and his son, they not only are they training the goalkeepers outside on the pitches, but they even take them into hotels, swimming pools. So they're getting to experience a whole different way of coaching. So, and likewise, when you went to Sporting Lisbon, Miguel Miranda, who was the guy that found Edison at Man City, again, he basically wasn't a great goalkeeper, but he became a very technical goalkeeping coach. And likes taking sort of the 10, 12, 14-year-olds and seeing how you can progress them to get a career, hence where Edison ended up at Man City. So it's really interesting, even just from a dad who's just interested in football, but watching how the coaches work. And they're so different. It's actually really interesting. And I think, Ian creates opportunities for all the boys and girls that go along, and there's a lot to be said for that. But I think with what Ian does, he just wants to progress the kids to enjoy playing in goal. I have to say, goalkeeping coaching is very different. I don't think a lot of managers and coaches fully understand. They're more focused on the outfield players rather than the techniques, and particularly the new techniques that are coming through for keepers. And when you look at De Gea, when he came to Man United, Eric Steele, who took him on, he came and explained about how he had to learn Spanish and De Gea had to learn English, and between them they were working out how they were going to adopt their approach to goalkeeping at Manchester United. So all these stories are very anecdotal, but they actually build a big picture, particularly for the likes of Ethan and the other young goalkeepers. They can only learn from this. So, yeah, I mean, I could talk about this all night, and I'm sure Ian could give a bit greater insight, but goalkeeping is a specialist position, and it needs a lot of coaches to really pay more attention to that.
Yeah, definitely. You get these trips, Ethan. Are there any more possible trips in the pipeline for you, or does your involvement with Ware kind of limit you to being able to do those?
I say there's no plans to go out at the moment unless the Valencia trip with Ware goes ahead, but obviously with COVID about, it's a bit of an unknown at the moment. So other than that, there's no real trips that I'm planning to go on. I think I've had my fair share already. I think Mum and Dad's bank account are already crying, so I sort of give them a break and leave it alone. So yeah, but I say if there was any more, I'd be more than happy to go, because they are just worth every penny in my eyes. But I mean, other people could say different, but I found them very beneficial. But yeah, nothing yet. So just looking forward to seeing coming out with something new.
That's it. So, I mean, like you said, you was at Wormley. You went to Tottenham, which you was part of the shadow squad. But when they was building the stadium, they was cost cutting, and like you said, they abandoned that team, and then you moved on to Ware. And then you was there with Neil Smith, Franco and Tony, and that squad that you've joined. I mean, they've progressed and done really well, haven't they? Yeah,
so that Neil especially has really driven this tiki-taka style of football into the boys. Getting to pass and move the ball. I say Franco and Tony as well do an amazing job. Training. If Neil's not there, then take over. Neil give them the rundown of what to do. I say it's a great operation they've got going. Neil's a mastermind of that style of football, so it's a great thing we have going. And then just seeing the boys play nice football is a pleasure to watch. When I'm standing in goal and just watching them score, it's nice to be just looking and standing there.
Yeah. I bet you'd rather just be standing there, like you say, watching them and being busy, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I say sometimes it's all right, get a bit bored. So, a shot here and there isn't too bad, but, I'd like to keep it down the other end most of the time.
Something to keep you warm in the winter months.
Yeah. So make me a little bit busy, not too busy.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that's come out of the WARE team, particularly as it is now, the under-23s, be it that they're actually under-18s. But, everything that Neil endorses is everything's played to feet. One of the things when Ethan came on board at WARE, Neil said, I want everything to feet. I want it on the floor. I don't want the ball being kicked and smashed 60 yards down the pitch. It's got to be played to feet. The defender's going to come back and look for it. So, I mean, even just bringing on it's not just about shot stopping. It's actually playing almost as a central defender, as a keeper. I'm sure you've seen, but, the team do get a lot of plaudits from a lot of the opposition teams and the standard of football that they're playing. I'm sure there's more to go, but it was a very good team before Ethan came on board as well. I mean, it's just literally continued to develop. And I think that's also good. It's a great pathway within WARE as a club to bring the players on.
Yeah. I mean, and you just touched on, and Andy, you said about it as well. So there's no under-18 side. It's actually labelled as an under-23 side, but pretty much full of under-18s. The under-18s had another good FA Cup run this year. Obviously, you mentioned last year, but they've started the season well. And someone you mentioned earlier, Andy, Tommy Shepherd, he's been on fire as well. And I think it's just as well you kept him up front in that youth team.
Yeah, well, Tommy, he had natural ability, at 6-7 years old. Everybody could see that. And then sadly I lost him to Stevenage. He went there. And then, things go around and now he's come back to WARE and we're seeing the spoils of that now. And obviously he's getting the opportunity every now and again, in WARE's first team. So, but again, I think that's just things, just turn out with some of these players.
I mean, you say Tommy's he's had a couple of opportunities that he had last season, but Ethan, I mean, this season, a few of them youngsters have come through as well, haven't they? And how good is that for you to see? For players that you've played with at that under-18s or now under-23s level, to see them coming through and making regular appearances in the first team as well.
Yeah, I mean, Reece.
Yeah, I say Reece Proughton is like a big one in place for the first team now. It's like good to see him playing every so often. It's nice to see him score his first goal the other week as well. But it's great to see some of our boys going up and, Paul Halsey having the trust in them to perform at their level. It just, even the physicality side of it, it's a big risk to take on. But, our boys can handle it, and it's great to see their confidence, a big confidence boost playing for them because, if you think you can play with them, that's great for your mindset, and then take it into our age group as well, and the whole team improves.
That's it. I mean, I think like you say, Paul's put that trust in them, but it goes back to that age-old saying: if you're good enough, you're old enough.
Yeah, 100%. I say some of the boys like the challenge, and if you're good enough, you can step up to the plate and perform when you need to. So, some of the boys, they're doing what they need to do and performing as best they can. So it's good for them.
That's it. I mean, you've obviously got other youngsters there as well, and it's they seem to be creating a really good production line, and there seems to be a really bright future for all these youngsters coming through and challenging for the first team squad. Yeah,
I say the whole squad has been very successful, but it's good to see all the boys come through. I put it down to Neil and Tony and Franco doing their part to get the boys there. And obviously Paul Halsey having the trust in them. But yeah, it's going well for them. And I think it's nice to see all the other teams as well, even the younger teams, start to follow Neil's style of football, the short passing, getting the ball down, move it quickly, and get it around, play around teams rather than trying to play a bit longer and win the 50-50s and things like that. But yeah, it's good to see all the younger boys also stepping up to the plate. And even on our team, we've had a few under-18s come join us and play for us who've also played well. So yeah, it's a good production line.
Yeah. I mean, so let's move on. That first game for the first team at Ware, Isthmian League Cup game away to Histon, 24th of September last year, aged just 16 years and 26 days. You drew 2-2, and you was the youngest ever Ware player to start a game. How much notice did you get prior to that game that you was going to be making your debut?
I was asked to come along, but there was no real you're going to be starting. It was, I think, for me, I was quite happy just to be with the team, get my face in around the team, let them know who I am, and, be very polite and just, be very, just let my name be there. And I think we were about to go for the warm-up, and Paul Halsey brought me aside and goes, Cal's not going to make it, so you're starting. And almost in a way, it was better having it that way because I didn't put any pressure on myself in the following days. Going up to the game, it was very much spontaneous. There was no real chance for me to go, I'm playing for the first team now. You've got to play well. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. It was very much just, you're playing another game. And that was it. And Paul as well, having the trust in me to perform that night and play for the other games as well. Just, and say thank you to him, really, just letting me play more games and just approached all the other games like it was every other game.
Yeah. And then, I mean, the following month, you became the youngest league player when you played against Bedfont Sports, won that 1-3-1. I mean, I know all you're concerned about is getting the 3 points, yeah? But what does, the youngest ever player record, something like that, mean to you? I mean, it's especially being a goalkeeper, because you would rarely find like a second choice goalkeeper as young as yourself, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'd say the record, or having that, being as young as I was, I didn't really notice until people were saying it after the game. Wasn't something that came into my mind at all. So just focusing on my own game, just trying to help us get the 3 points, as you were saying. But I think more the adults were impressed about my age more than I was, because I didn't really take it into consideration, that I was so young playing against men. But yeah, it was a good experience, and hopefully look forward to playing more games for him.
Yeah. And Andy, yourself, I mean, when you found out that he was making that, initial debut, what were your feelings? And I mean, I guess you were surprised to find him starting.
Yeah, I think between Ethan's mum and myself, I think, we're probably more nervous, panicking about everything, making sure he doesn't make a mistake, and everything. So, Ethan's very calm about everything. I think we take all the pressure ourselves. So, yeah, I mean, it was incredible. We're obviously very proud of him, but, he's so laid back about all this, the attention side of it. So, but I think, from the age point of view, because Ethan was born at the end of August, so he's sort of the baby in the year. So for him, it's always, ironically, when we found out about he was the youngest player, I guess that's the only time it's been an advantage for him, because it was the end of the year. But I mean, it's great, and we try and support him and follow him, around all the games wherever we can. I wouldn't like to think how many miles we've travelled now, but I guess that's the same for most parents.
Yeah. I mean, I personally know as well. I mean, I coach my daughter's team, and going here, there, everywhere. I mean, on Saturday, I had an hour and a quarter journey to our away game, and that's just a junior game. But it's what you do as a parent, isn't it, for your kids around, here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think and I think that for over the last few years, I mean, I've been away a lot of the time during the week, so Ethan's mum, he's been taken to goalkeeper training on a Monday. He's had boxing on a Tuesday. He's had training on a Wednesday, training on a Thursday, and then I'll come up back at the weekend, and then I get to see the game. So, but it's a huge commitment on families and those that are supporting all the kids these days. It's a huge commitment.
Yeah. Now, Ethan, I mean, obviously, Callum Kitchker is the number one aware, and myself and Pete, we've said time and time again, he's probably the best keeper in the league. I mean, what's it like for you? Working with him, training with him, and has he sort of like taken you under his wing and taught you a few things and given you some words of advice at all?
Yeah, to be honest, it's great working with Callum. He's very supportive at training. He's always asking how I'm getting on. If I ever play in goal for the first team like the other week, he asked me pretty much as soon as I left. He texted me saying, "How did you get on? How was the game?" He's always saying, "Train, anything I could do better." Always there, just always helping me. It's great influence as well. Just always working hard. So yeah.
That's it. I mean, because there's like a goalkeeper's brotherhood sort of thing, isn't there?
Yeah.
Although you're rivals for that spot, you're in it together sort of thing, aren't you, as well?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, because he had problems with his knee the other week, and very much said, like in training, said, "How hard do you want to push yourself? Just do you want to take it easy, hard?" And say, "I can cover for you if you need to." Just things like that. Just always looking after for each other, and just making sure we don't push ourselves too hard and try and cover each other. So yeah.
I mean, you say about that game the other week. That was in the FA Trophy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's your only that's your only performance this season. But he's still getting more and more opportunities, and it's great, like you said earlier. To give you a chance in a big game as well for the club.
Yeah. So it wasn't our best performance, but he gave me a lot to do that game. Which I think there was so much I had to do that anything that I did wrong was completely clouded by the amount of like 10, 15 saves I had to pull off that game. So it was another great highlight show really for me. But it was, again, grateful to have the opportunity and get my face out there and get the publicity. But,
yeah, absolutely. Pete, was there anything you wanted to come and ask the guys at all?
Yeah, I was just wondering, Ethan. I mean, we talked about Callum, but obviously you got first team manager there who was a goalkeeping coach in Bowl Halsey. What's it like, first team manager being a goalkeeping coach as well?
Yeah, I say it's quite entertaining. Paul does like to come over every so often, let us know how good we are and how bad we are. And then give us his viewpoints on what we should be doing, what we shouldn't. Who's doing bad, who's doing good. So yeah, he's always chipping in his opinions, which is always good fun. He always likes a bit of banter between coaches and players. So yeah, it's good. It's a good laugh. Good laugh.
Yeah, we know that as well here on the show. I mean, just a technical thing. Obviously, you've got the artificial surface at Ware. How much difference does that make from a goalkeeping perspective?
It's a huge difference, actually. I mean, the Astro we have is one of the newest Astros you can get. So underneath the ground is a little bit harder than playing on grass, but it's so smooth. There's no unexpected bobbles that you get on the grass pitch, so it's much easier to read the ball, what it's going to do. There's no surprises as such. So it's much better than playing away in a muddy pitch, getting drenched and covered in mud. So it's lovely playing on there. It's just there's no other circus really like it in all the other leagues. So it's proper.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's great to watch football there as well. Talking of watching football, I mean, final question for Andy, and just a simple one. Are you a good spectator when Ethan's playing?
I can answer that one.
No, I mean, to be fair, it's great. I mean, yes, we've always got an opinion about the referee and the linesman because I've done both myself, and I always know better than everybody else, as we all do, because we're all experts. But no, I mean, yeah, I think you like probably most parents, and I've said before, you almost live in the game with them, and every move that they make and every shot they're stopping. I'm just obviously talking about Ethan in goal, but oh, did he get that cross? You're literally living every minute of it. And I know my wife certainly is very vocal, giving her opinions on it as well. But yes, we can be a bit vocal at times.
That's right. Keeps you on your toes, Ethan, obviously, with all that going on from the sidelines.
They definitely let me know.
Well, thanks a lot for joining us, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. And we look forward to following your career and, going forward in the future. And hopefully, when these strange times are over, then we can appreciate a little bit more what's going on there at Ware as well with, the way they're bringing youth players through and the real production line. So stay safe, guys. Thanks a lot for joining us. And
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You're listening to 90 Minutes on East Hearts Radio in association with Universal Signs.
Right, thanks to Andy and Ethan for that chat. Really great to catch up with them. And Pete, it's that time again. Let's go for a donut.
I'll tell you, my stomach's been rumbling. I hope nobody's heard it. I just want a donut.
This is East Hearts Radio, 90 minutes donut of the week.
Right, last week's winner, Pete, was John Yems, the Crawley Town manager, for his Twitter outburst when he was asked about one of the substitutions. I'm going to let you kick off the donuts this week. I know you've got a few nominations.
Yeah, I want to kick off with Inverness Caledonian Thistle, who employed tech company Pixelot to supply a robot camera for the Scottish League game against Ayr. The idea was the camera was programmed to focus on the ball, saving the need for a cameraman. Unfortunately, fans who forked out £10 for pay-per-view got a succession of shots of the bald head of one of the referee's assistants. It seems the camera's artificial intelligence got confused and thought the official's bald head was in fact the game ball and kept switching its focus, resulting in fans seeing a bald head instead of one of the goals in the 1-1 draw. A Scottish football spokesman said, "We're aware of a few brief instances of wandering cameras and have been assured by Pixelot that they are working to fix it." Now, are they going to sort the camera out or make sure you can't have any more bald linesmen? I'm not sure.
I think it would probably be easier to sort the camera out than to fit every bald linesman with a wig or something like that, Pete.
It's a classic. You want me to do another one before we come to yours?
You go for another one and then I'll do my nomination.
Right. I want to nominate the EFL. We've done the football. I don't think we've ever done the EFL, so they're going to get their bit for this. I want to nominate the EFL after naming the EFL trophy the Papa John's Trophy, and then saying that the pizza company will now provide the official pizza of the EFL. Surely we are supposed to get people into a healthy eating for a healthy pursuit that is football, not giving sponsorships to pizza companies, no matter how healthy they think their products are. And also there's a big problem here because Forest Green Rovers are in the EFL. They're the world's first vegan football club. So are they actually going to pull out of the EFL trophy because it's now sponsored by a pizza company? Unless, of course, they're going to be assured that all the pizzas, which are the official pizzas of the EFL, are vegan pizzas. It's a bit of a competition that's had a history as well. I mean, it's been the Sherpa Van Trophy, the Leyland Daft Trophy, and the Auto Windscreen Shield. But I think they've really gone to the depths here with the Papa John's Trophy, but not as far, it's got to be said, as the Scottish Challenge Cup, which turned into the Tunnocks Caramel Challenge Cup. I assume the team that win that can't put it anywhere warm or it'll melt.
Like you say, they have had some crazy names, and Papa John's Trophy. I think that's scraping the bottom of the barrel, isn't it, Pete? Really?
Yeah, it's scraping the bottom of the pizza oven. I think we'll leave it at.
I mean, my nomination is for Newham Council. So there was a game last Tuesday at the Terence McMillan Stadium that was postponed because there were no lines on the pitch. When the pitch is rented from them, and it is down to them to maintain the pitch, to cut it, and obviously to mark it. The referee turned up. I think it was about 6:15. And he said that lines needed to be painted on the pitch, and he delayed the kickoff until 8 p.m. A man then appeared with a bag of white spray cans. He painted one line, and then he disappeared. The match official asked one of the club officials, where this man was, and he was told that he'd gone to B&Q for some paint. The ref then spotted about 50 people from the local running club warming up on the track that surrounds the pitch. He'd had enough then, and he immediately called off the game. I mean, Newham Council, come on. You're renting the pitch, you're taking a fee off of a club, to rent that pitch. At least do your job and maintain it properly. Come on.
I would just love to have seen a video of the referee's double take when he arrived at the ground and realised there weren't any lines.
It's unexplainable, Pete.
Unbelievable. Okay, our final nomination goes to Matt Penrose, who, unlike most expectant fathers, decided that the best way to pass the time away whilst his wife Grace was enduring 18 hours of labour was by sitting next to her playing Football Manager on his laptop in the delivery room. After giving birth to son Hugo, Grace said when he opened his laptop and said he was going to play Football Manager, I wasn't even surprised. It's the story of my life. And in case you're wondering, Matt managed to get in half a season as boss of his favourite Lazio on his way to winning the title. So, maybe it was all worth it.
The thing is, Pete, I play Football Manager myself, and knowing the fact that if he's not managed to get online and I guess onto the NHS Wi-Fi, any records he might have had, they won't stand in his save because they won't be saved on it. So, mate, come on, I don't blame. I can't blame him for playing Football Manager, for those 18 hours. If you've got to spare 18 hours to be excused to play it, great. But I hope you didn't break any of your records because they won't be counted in there.
Yeah, I think if I would have tried that one in years gone by, there would have been a laptop flying out of a window. But so they are our nominations. As usual, you vote on Twitter. Do you want Inverness, Caledonian Thistle for the bald linesman and the ball, the EFL for their poke for Pizzagate, Matt Penrose for his laptop and Football Manager, or Newham for deciding that football can quite easily be played without any lines?
Right, so we'll put them tweets out and them votes out for you to vote on during the week. And we've had our donuts of the week, Pete. Shall we go on to a performance of the week?
Yeah, certainly. Well, I think there is only one. Welwyn Garden City go to Horsham, they go a level above, they go to the FA Trophy. Until this season, by the way, this is only the third time they've been in the competition. They've gone out the first stage the last couple of seasons. This season, they're through to the first round, having taken out a Horsham side who've been really good at home this season, well placed in the Isthmian League Premier Division, and did it in style. So well done, boys. Brilliant performance. You are our performance of the week.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very well deserved, and great performance from everyone. And Pete, it's a double for Welwyn Garden City, isn't it? Because our individual performance of the week is going to go to George Ironton. Coming on, he's come on within 10 minutes. He scores a goal to bring them level, and what a goal it was as well. And he scored one of the penalties to put them through to the next round. Yeah,
and he's come back from injury as well. He's sitting there with an Achilles problem. Come on, change the game, and well done, George. So it's a citizens' double with our two performances of the week. Should we have a look at the Golden Boots? There wasn't too much movement in it this weekend, to be honest, but Ricky Brown of Ware Sports still leads the way on 10 goals. And we've got in fact, 3 players now on 7. Cyrus Babai of Hoddesdon, Louis Debenham of Westmill, and Simon Scott of Bengio Trinity Vets. The last 2 did score this weekend just gone. Callum Falk of Westmill's got 6, as has Joe Babbage of Hoddesdon Town Reserves, Connor Clark of Sawbridgeworth, and Henry Branston, who hasn't scored for a few weeks for Aldbury, but he's still there with 6 goals.
Yeah, fantastic. We'll move on to the women's games that took place in the Beds and Hearts Women's Football League in the Premier Division. Hartham United ladies 0, Garston ladies 6. Another defeat for Hartham United ladies, and they've not scored yet either. There's 3 games they failed to score, but I'm sure they'll get up and running very soon. And Hearts Vipers 2, AFC Dunstable Women's Blues 1. Hearts Vipers maintain their 100% record. 2 goals there, one from Kelsey Gibson, which was her first for the Vipers, and Nikki Jancy getting on the score sheet once again. In Division 1, Sherardswood Ladies 2, Biggleswade United 2. And in Division 2, absolutely fantastic result for Hearts Vipers Development. They beat Stotfold Junior Ladies 12-1. Rachel got 3. Taz Simons got 2. Lois got 2. Gracie, Brody, Emma, Ellie, and an own goal completed the scorings. Watton ladies, they beat Hitchintown Reserves 3-0. Absolutely fantastic result for them. And in Division 3, Evergreen Eagles beat Bury Rangers 6-1, while Oakland Wolves Reserves beat Buntingford Town ladies 1-0. Unfortunately, because it's Sunday evening, the games are played this afternoon. There wasn't any updates on scorers of those goals or any updates on the league tables on the FA Player website, so I can't bring those to you, but I will update those for you next week.
Yeah, and that's what we'll have to be doing next week. We have normally at this stage, of course, we'll give you a whole run of fixtures and tell you how exciting the next week looks. But unfortunately, those fixtures will only take us up to Wednesday, the 4th of November. There is football action on Tuesday. Unfortunately, also, it's a victim of circumstance, this. Ware's game against Marlow, which was proposed in the Isthmian League Division 1 South Central, has been postponed. Nothing to do with COVID. It's the fact that Marlow's game against Berkhamsted in the FA Trophy on Saturday was postponed. They have 5 days under competition rules to restage it, so they're restaging that ahead of the league game at Ware. Ware have been looking for a friendly opponent on Tuesday. At the time we're saying this, they haven't found one yet, but you know what to do. We'll have details on Twitter and it'll be on Ware's website as well if they do so. Games that will go ahead on Tuesday as far as we know: Southern League Division 1 Central, Bedworth United against Welwyn Garden City. That's going to be interesting. Bedworth having a really good season, but Welwyn Garden City, as we know, are flying. In the Essex Senior League, Hoddesdon down at home to Stansted, and St Margaret's trying again against Hadley with a game that was postponed last week. And also a friendly, our last 90 minutes live commentary for a while, unfortunately, will be Hertford Town against Watford under 23s. And kind of looking forward to that. I know it's only a friendly, but, hopefully we'll get a bit of atmosphere down there and it'll be good to... The only thing I wonder is because the age of Hertford Town's first 11, if Ben decided not to play, then surely Hertford will be a lot younger than Watford's under 23s.
I think they will be, Peter. And one thing for people to remember, that it is a 7 o'clock kickoff, so there will be commentary on that from 5 to 7 point. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it because I've got training for my daughter, and I won't be getting there till well after half time. So Pete, enjoy that game and say hello to everyone for me and give them all my best.
Yeah, it certainly will do. And the final action before we think what's going to be the close down could be historic, of course. The FA Youth Cup first round, MK Dons against Hertford Town. Hertford looking to go even further in the competition. They're already further than they've ever been before. So best of luck to the boys there at MK Dons. And hopefully they can produce a local double because, of course, Ware won there last season. Hopefully Hertford can do the same thing. And there is action for Ware at Watson Park in the Bluefin Sport Insurance Development League, where Ethan Gannon, who we heard from a little bit earlier, will be taking his place in goal as Ware take on AFC Sudbury. And then you just feel like, I don't know what you do at the end of it. The credits should come up for a month, shouldn't it? On, this was football so far starring. And then, we are reopened again. Big time, fingers crossed, on after the 2nd of December.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope it does continue when they say it will. And I guess all we can do is watch this space sort of thing, see what gets announced, and hopefully we'll have more news to bring everyone this time next week.
Certainly. And one thing you can be certain of, by the way, we will keep chatting sport all the way through the lockdown. Okay, so 90 minutes ain't going anywhere. We may be perhaps reduced to an hour instead of 90 minutes because obviously we won't have all the results, but we're not going anywhere and we will be with you every week. So that'd be good. Great. Look forward to that.
Yeah, that's it. With it, potentially now, they're saying it's only going to be 4 weeks. We know there's going to, we've got plenty of great guests that we can get on. There's still going to be news to bring you from around the teams and, what announcements are going to be making. So, like you say, yeah, we might need to reduce it to 60 minutes or something like that. But, I'm sure there's going to be plenty for us to talk about still, Pete.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. Well, thanks for sticking with us tonight. Thanks for listening. If you're going to the Bark on Tuesday night, say hello. I'll see you down there. And I will speak to you next week, mate.
Yes, speak to you next week. And, have fun Tuesday.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Cheers. Good night.